welcome into Southside Pod. My name is Chris Lanuti, bellying up to my 9-foot homemade oak bar. Pour yourself a cold one as we sit in the basement on the south side of Chicago and cover everything in the area that matters most to you. Today, we visit with the farmers of the South Side. Yeah, I didn't know there were farmers here either. Gonna take a trip to One Trick Pony Brewery in Lansing. Plus, we're going to have a bite to eat at an amazing Irish pub. Bill, you've been looking for places to eat lately, right?
So my anniversary was the last week.
Yeah?
6 years with my beautiful wife.
Good for you. I'm coming up on 17.
Wow.
Wait till you get to that.
I know.
And you're like, well, I guess I'm in for the end.
I'm way behind you. At a late start.
Like you're probably still in the cutesy thing where you're looking up like what you give on the 6-year anniversary.
That's exactly what we did.
You know what we do? We just look at each other and go, I guess we're in it until one of us dies at this point.
Just gonna hope for another BJ.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there might be an out, but then we had this third kid, and now I've got another 18 years.
Now.
Right, yeah, I'm in now. I'm going to be so old when he gets it. It's over now at this point.
I was looking for like a restaurant to find, and there's just, I mean, not a whole lot out there, but I was more so looking for a open bar afterwards. Now we're dealing with this whole pandemic.
So you want to
COVID
find a
thing.
place you can go have a drink.
Yeah, and they're so hard to find, by the way. Like
they're out there. Like, here's the thing.
But not downtown.
I would mention them specifically, but I'm always afraid I'm going to get them into trouble.
Exactly. That's my point. There's a lot of people are defying that law and stuff like that, and that's cool and great, but they're not. That's hard to advertise. So
right, you can't be like, hey, we're breaking the rules.
Right.
Like,
so there's a lot of word of mouth stuff.
Yeah.
And we would love to be that word
Everything's
of mouth.
Everything's a speakeasy.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I walk into there before you continue the story. There's a place that I walk into probably once a week or so, and I have to park in the back in the alley.
Yeah.
I go to the back door because the front door says closed and everything's blacked out. And I walk in and the bar is packed and they're playing darts. And there's some drunken guy kissing some drunken girl that he just met that night. And I'm like, COVID doesn't exist in this bar. Yeah.
It's like it never happened.
Right. The bar, nobody's masked. The cook is sneezing on the food. It's like, it's the Wild West. Okay. They exist. But anyway, go ahead.
But if you're looking for something like that, like you can't really look in the newspaper or on Google or anything.
No,
you have to talk.
Yeah,
you have to talk to some people.
Talk to people.
Right. And not even online. Because people are afraid to talk about it as well. You just have to get out there and talk to your boys. Because there's still places available to go and have a drink.
There are a few places that have said publicly they're open. They don't worry about, like Capri in Palos.
Okay.
Capri is open. And they're one of the best Italian restaurants in the entire city.
Yeah.
Like they're a place I want to have on Southside Pod because in my opinion, one of the best Italian restaurants in the entire city and surrounding area is sitting right there in Palos and Capri. It's amazing.
I've been there once. It was good. It was very good.
Take it from a kid that's made the trip to Italy before with his family.
You are like Italian.
Who's Italian. His last
right?
name's Lanuti. Their stuff is authentic and good. And you can go in there and you can sit at the bar. And so but they were on Facebook and said, we're staying open. So they said it. Like in Evergreen Park, Porter Cullen said we're opening back up again.
Yeah, I saw someone at Porter Cullen's today actually, and I'm like, oh, they're open. Like that's great news. Yeah. I love their food.
They had a tent outside for a while for show, and then they just took the tent down. They were like, everybody knows.
Because at some point the inside is the outside, the outside is the inside. And what are we doing here?
Open.
Right? What are we doing?
Open. I will tell you this: both those places are still keeping space, right? So the waitresses are still wearing the garb, and they're still keeping things clean, and they're still keeping people spaced out.
As much as we don't want it, we probably should.
It's not the Wild West like the speakeasy I just described, where you can do shots out of somebody's navel,
right?
Which shouldn't be a COVID.
That's like on the menu.
Right?
There's a picture, like a bunch of people's pictures of whose navel you want to take the shot out of. I'll take Tequila Rose out of Jenna.
Porter Cullen's. We're on 99th Street, just to the east of Central Park. You guys have been around for how long?
Just over 4 years.
Just over 4 years. I have Jill and Mike McGrath. They are one half of the couple pairing that bought this. There's 4 total owners here. 2 couples that live across the street from each other in Evergreen Park that decided to open up a restaurant. How did the idea come about?
Came about actually because we're very
local supporters of Bleeckers, and Bleeckers was a good place because a lot of neighborhood people would go there, and it's just a nice neighborhood place where you'd hang out and you just run into a bunch of people. And then it was just the timing that was shutting down, and we came across this building, came up for sale, and we got together, thought about the idea. It might be good for a little corner hangout. We weren't sure what we were going to do, either like a pizza place or Italian place. We weren't sure what kind of food, but we thought that the neighborhood needed a good hangout area. So we went ahead, and then we came out with the idea of opening a little Irish pub. And after a lot of meetings and hard work and discussions, it all came about after a few months. And the location used to be A&J Meat. So it was a butcher shop for about 20 years.
I know, I used to get my turkey here every Thanksgiving.
Right.
And now I can't get it here.
A lot of people, actually around Christmas time, some people still pull up and they're looking for the Lithuanian sausage. They still pull up, they're like, oh, what happened to A&J Meat?
So you say Irish pub, but on the south side of Chicago, you walk in a lot of places that claim that they're Irish pubs, and they just have an Irish name and a sticky floor. This reminds me more of... This is a trendier, upscale Irish pub that seems very authentic. How much thought went into how you were going to do this and achieving this kind of look for this part of the neighborhood?
Well, it definitely had a lot of thought into it. We definitely wanted somewhere where we, and I say we meaning like women more than guys. I think they can go for the stickier floor more than
I hate sticky floors. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I wanted somewhere nice to like go and hang out, and I didn't want it to look like another place. I wanted like kind of thicker tables. I wanted like, I don't know.
Fireplace in the wall, nice bar with lighting underneath it. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice place to go to.
Right. And all four of us had ideas. Like, someone wanted this, someone wanted a plank ceiling, someone wanted an old-fashioned tile floor, somebody wanted wood walls. But to get four grown adults to agree on how to make it all work and look like you didn't just throw it all together, we had to consult a professional, and we had like a link to a guy that a decorator or designer actually.
Well, it's very downtown River Northy, but it doesn't feel as uppity as a downtown River Northy place would be.
It's still like not too fancy where you want to just wear your sweatshirt. And
I mean, are you kidding me? My kids come walking in this place, and that's the thing that I really like. That is that it's a nice, classy, clean place. But I've also I've got 3 kids, and the amount of times that I've walked them in the door here, and I'm comfortable with them being here, and you guys treat it like a family. It's a family bar. That's the easiest way to say it. Family bar with really upscale food. I mean, the menu, the corned beef has to be one of the premier items on that menu.
Thank you.
How long does it take to make that? Because I've had a lot of corned beef in my life in Chicago, and this is done really well. So this can't be like you're just making this on the fly.
No, it's a definite process, and we have not strayed from the process. And it definitely takes over to brine one of our ginormous briskets over 24 hours, and a secret of seasonings and spices. And then we cook it a certain way, and then we trim a lot of the fat off, and then we slice it. But then when we go to make your sandwich, there's a process to that as well. And it kind of just works. So it's a definite commitment to the brisket, and it's shown a lot of love. That brisket's shown a lot of love, and we go through a ton of corned beef.
From distributor to the plate, I would say it's about a 48-hour turnaround for the process.
2 full days just to make sure that corned beef tastes the way it does when it comes on the plate. Is it your premier item? What is the place? What is like if somebody comes walking in the Porter Cullens? What's the one thing that they should try? Is it the corned beef or is it something else?
Well, I always say if you like a corned beef sandwich, we definitely have a great product. It's very tasty, juicy. People love it. But I also tell people that our fish and chips are amazing. I wasn't even a fish and chips fan at all, and I love it. And I love our homemade tartar sauce, which is made with capers, so it gives it that extra little bite of like brine. It's just, and then you use the vinegar and you dip your fries in it. It just works. And I'm Irish, but I was not a fan of fish and chips until we opened this restaurant. And I'm like, man, and even to this day, I'll be like, man, these are really good fish and chips.
I was just going to say, we didn't get a chance to introduce the fact that there's two other owners. So it's two families live across the other street. The other two owners are
Ann and Jerry Dory.
Okay, and how important is it, or how nice is it that instead of just, one couple or one person owning something, to have two, we're like, like you get a new person in here every day that's kind of like, running the place.
Well, one main thing is all the work is divided by 4, so that definitely helps with your like daily stress level. And
what's your job?
I do, it depends on the day, but my main job would be to handle all the wine and liquor ordering.
So you're my new best friend.
Yeah, right.
So I want to get back on this thing that we were talking about earlier, because it started very simply with, I want to go to a restaurant with my wife for our anniversary,
Right.
and then it jumped the rails. So let's get back on the rails and try this again.
Well, we're looking for a place to eat because, we're in this, what do you want to call it, pandemic, COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of places that are closed. So we were looking for a place to eat. We eventually found a place on the south side, and we enjoyed our food, and we're looking for a place afterwards was the main concern. The alcohol afterward. We want to have a couple drinks.
You wanted to find a place you could go drink.
Because most of the places that you eat are,
Bars closed.
you have 45 minutes to eat. You have 75 minutes to eat.
Right.
And,
Because in 76 minutes, you get COVID.
yeah, right.
That's how it works.
I guess so.
Right.
And I don't blame any of these restaurant tours or bar, is it a bar tour?
No, I think it's I don't know if there's a bar tour, but there's a restaurant
it's a restaurant
tour.
tour.
Right. I don't know if what they
Are
call it.
Are you a podcast tour?
Depending
Look at
on,
you thought about it.
I thought about it for a second.
You thought about it.
Thought about it for a second. I was like, maybe I am a podcast tour. It's interesting. Okay, anyway. So
how do we get off the rails on things?
that was your fault. Okay, so that's what happens when you do a podcast from a bar and you're
But
12
with restaurants,
drinks in.
they kick you out pretty quick.
Right,
Right? I
right.
mean, you can't have that after dinner, drink. For
And
some
I get it,
reason.
because they need to turn the table so they make profit.
Sure,
because they have
absolutely.
half the tables, if not less,
They're
right now.
struggling
Right, they're
now.
struggling, right.
But bars are fewer and far between nowadays as far as in person. You got a lot of to-go beers. We had a babysitter with 2 kids at home. We want to, have some adult time.
Right.
Hard to find.
You wanted to get liquored up and then go into the backseat of the car behind the 7-Eleven.
And it is what it is.
Right.
It turned into 1998 again with us. You can't go home.
Can't go home.
All right. So what are we going to do?
Go pull into a park. Right. Like, drink some booze.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you were thinking about
Yeah, let's
doing.
go get a 6-pack.
I have found that a lot of my dates with my wife turned into, what do you want to do? I don't care. I just got to get away from these kids. And the next thing you're doing is you're like, oh, we could probably just get a 6-pack and go hide in the park or something, like I was a teenager again.
Right.
It's funny, but it's true.
When my kids get old enough, it'll be different,
Right.
but
Then it's
they're young.
wrong. It's wrong, kids. It's wrong.
A pitcher of beer, a pitcher of beer. Let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
Mark Kokel and One Trick Pony. I think I've driven him nuts in the last 10 minutes while we've been talking beer. It seems like every time I say something to him, he is on a completely different wavelength from me, and it makes me love you more, Mark. I'm looking forward to like an entire evening of you and me not finishing each other's sentences.
I just dictated Mark Twain, and now you want me to
I didn't have the
duplicate this.
recorder on. No.
All right, so yeah.
So here, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you just a basic question right off the bat before we get into the beer that we're trying here. I've been to places before, and they'll literally list right on the menu a One Trick Pony. They won't see the name of the beer; they'll just call it One Trick Pony. But that's the name of the brewery. So why is that? Why does that happen? And where does the name come from?
At least at beer events. I'm not sure about in the marketplace, and just starting to learn about that. But at beer events, the feedback that we get is from folks that are coming up to grab a sample of a beer, and they see the name, and they think that the name of the brewery is the name of every beer that we serve. And it's not. The name is really a flippant comment. It really comes down to, I'm not going to brew you an IPA every time. I'm not going to be a one-trick pony brewing you IPAs all the time. I love Belgian beers. I love darker beers that are not IPAs. I love all sorts of styles. I'm not going to brew IPAs all the time. And about a year and a half after I threw that out in an email, I tried to figure out, all right, so what do I call myself if I put a brewery? One Trick Pony was easy. Paul Simon has not given me a cease and desist letter yet. And so I think I'm okay.
Tell me about what we're having now. What is this that I'm drinking, because it's really, really good?
Warlander is a double IPA that we call a triple IPA in-house. And so at beer events, we'll label it as a triple IPA. And folks will walk up thinking it's a Belgian triple. No, it's a triple IPA, sort of a hybrid between a double IPA and a strong ale, an American strong. And so in terms of a beer style, double IPAs, you know what you're getting, or you know what you're looking for. You're looking for some maltiness, but a lot of hops. A strong ale can be a little bit too malty, and unless you're on with your hops, you've got a big sweet non-IPA beer coming at you. So we call it a triple IPA. It's something we do in house, and so a lot of citra hops, a little bit of brown sugar, and a very big grain bill. And today we brewed it. We got 11 barrels out of. We threw 11 barrels into a tank. Should have been 11.3. Unfortunately, we had no room left in our tank, and so. We're brewing it way too much now because there's too much demand. We can't keep it in stock.
I can understand why, because I'm having this, and I got to tell you, and I can only compare beers to other beers. I'm sure people do that when they're talking beer with you. You probably do the same thing. You'll get the scent, you'll drink a little bit of it, you'll be like, it kind of compares to this. I'll tell you what this compares you to for me, and you might look at me like I'm absolutely nuts. Color-wise, and just when I have the first sip, to me, it's similar to an Arrogant Bastard from Stone Brewery, but it's not as harsh as one. And I love, that's been one of my go-to beers, when I walk into a place. But it's not as harsh as one, and I actually really like the smoothness of this beer.
And my guess is, I have no idea what goes into Arrogant Bastard other than a lot of the same love. A lot of the same love we have here. I'm guessing the malts are probably in the same ballpark. But hops and yeast and how they're used and when they're used. Warlander came from, the recipe was built off of Hop Slam. And in terms of Hop Slam, I had it about 5-6 years ago. And, how do you come up with a beer that's that good without mimicking the beer? How do you pay homage and also be creative yourself? And that was the idea behind Warlander. And so this is more, to me, more reminiscent of Hop Slam than Arrogant Bastard.
Is this the beer to have if you ever show up in Lansing to have a beer at One Trick Pony?
Yes.
If you weren't into this beer, if you're not an IPA person, give me one other one that somebody should try.
We've got a beer called The Wall, and The Wall is a little politically charged, but I named it The Wall before current day events.
It's the Pink Floyd Wall.
No. I've got a day job, and so a lot of the work that I do is with immigrants, and so The Wall, when it became a mantra,
right?
My sense was that there's aspects of the discussion that need to be fleshed out, and so the way The Wall was named is we had a lager that was going on tap. One of the guys that played open mic night here, his parents are clearly first generation over here, and when he got up to play before he went into the Navy or Marine Corps band, we had a going away party. And so how do you what do you name a lager after a kid that's going away to the Marine Corps band? How about The Wall? Hispanic. He's Hispanic, and I'm sorry. It was such an easy way to name a beer that now that beer is, besides Warlander and Stormcat, is the next best-selling beer. It fits a certain segment of the market that is looking for a lager, not looking for hops, and can also appeal to folks that like light beers. I mean, there's a lot of flavor to it. So we sort of backed into a really good lager.
Mark, I really appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about the beer, and I'm going to enjoy myself here in Lansing tonight and drink these beers because everything I've tried so far, I hit a New England IPA. I thought it was good too. I'm going to, drink my wife's Belgian.
Croatia.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, shoot. Yes.
It's okay. We can edit.
I love it.
We used to swear on the show, but we stopped. More listeners like it when you don't swear.
Well, that.
Welcome on down to the basement in the 9-foot homemade oak bar. You've clicked, you want to listen to it, so you've come this far. I think you'll enjoy our hijinks and our talks of the South Side. Stick around.
Have you heard about the Crab Wars of Western Avenue?
The crab. Are we talking about the Southside Irish Parade in 2004?
No, that's completely different. Okay, so
the Crab Wars of Western Avenue.
Crab Wars of Western Avenue.
What are you talking about?
This is something I'm surprised that nobody knows about, and I think the pandemic has made this something that people they didn't notice it when it happened.
All right, bring it.
So what happens is first you have a crab place at 92nd and Western.
Okay.
And it's called the Crazy Crab.
The Crazy Crab.
And
okay.
I met the guy from the Crazy Crab. His name is he's named after Martin Luther King.
Okay.
He used to know him.
Great namesake.
He grew up in the same block as Jesse Jackson, and Barack Obama came into his place and signed the wall. They do a thing where you can walk in and sign the wall, like the wood paneling, like Geno's East used to be.
They got
right?
some clout.
They got that, okay? Meanwhile, he tells me that all the recipes are his own and it's a completely home-based business.
Okay.
When you Google Crazy Crab, there's other locations because it's a chain. So that was the first thing that made me go, something's weird.
Well, I mean, it's not a very nondescript adjective.
Right.
I'm sure there's lots of crazy crab.
They have the same cartoon symbol.
Oh.
Like there's one out at O'Hare Airport with the exact same insignia.
Okay.
So
that changes things.
It's a little weird.
Okay.
But that's not the best part of the
Who are they
Crab
at
War story.
war with?
Right. They're having a war with the formerly known Hot and Juicy Crab.
Hot and Juicy.
That's at 96th and Western.
A real
So
story.
think about this. This is
a real story.
This is 4 blocks away where 95th Street is the dividing line, the Mason-Dixon line of the Crab Wars.
So, like the Civil War of crab restaurants, and 95th Street is the Mason-Dixon line.
Right, it sits right in the middle, the north and the south
This is
on
ridiculous.
Western Avenue.
This is ridiculous.
They're both located on the Evergreen Park
And
side
they're
of
fighting.
Western
Why
Avenue.
are they fighting?
Well,
That's kind of a long.
Hot and Juicy Crab. Now they do the same thing. They do the thing where they put the crab in like the bag and you pick your seasoning and
Okay.
they bring it out. You put different seafood in and like throw in a potato and give me some shrimp in
Yeah.
there or whatever.
Sounds
Give me the stone
delicious.
crab, whatever. It's great. And I've eaten. The crab places like that are just great. They're so much fun to go to. The kids could get messy, whatever. The guy at Crazy Crab doesn't have a bar. He mixes a drink for you and puts it in a plastic cup.
That's the South Side way, right? You want one to go?
The guy at Hot and Juicy Crab had a bar, but he didn't have the name. So recently, he changed his name from Hot and Juicy Crab to the Saucy Crab. And he changed his symbol to pretty much the same symbol, but it's a little bit crooked. So it's like McDonald's and McDowell's from Coming to America. It's like... It's that close.
So he thought Hot and Juicy Crab was too many syllables.
Too many syllables.
So he just went back to Saucy
So
Crab.
you're either crazy
which
or
is
saucy.
Close to crazy.
Right.
And all he did was take the Crazy Crab logo, slightly modify it, and
I don't know if that's what he
turn
did.
it by 45 degrees to make it slightly askew.
I don't want to slander the guy, so I don't know what he did. I'm just saying
But
that
that's what it appears to
I
be.
personally, in my opinion, think that it looks pretty similar.
So it's
Okay?
like oh, now we're not McDonald's.
No.
We're like we're the yellow
McDowell's.
arches. We're E.
Right.
Like we
We flip the arches and they're a W, but they're still going.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
exactly. Okay.
All right.
So he also has a bar and an outdoor patio. So when the pandemic hits,
Well, there's a difference.
when the pandemic hits, he's able to have people outside while the other guy can't. And the name change is helping him completely.
Yeah.
The other thing is he adds wood paneling when you walk into the place, so now you can sign the
No,
wood paneling.
he stole that too.
So they're signing the wood paneling too. And this is so ridiculous that I was out there visiting and I was going to go talk to that guy about, you want to do some advertising or something like that on one of the podcasts. And there's a person on the patio telling somebody, no, saucy, not juicy.
No,
Because they're right down the block from each other.
everyone
So-
is confused.
So, like, and then the person behind me goes, wait, they got 2 of these places?
No.
And they're only 4 blocks away from each other? Like, this is an actual thing. Like, if you drive down 87th, from 87th to 111th back and forth on Western Avenue, there's billboards, there's bus boards, there's all these things going on.
I just looked up the
And
logos.
it's both of them.
They're uncannily similar.
They're incredibly similar.
They're almost like the same design. Like they hired a guy off. Like, you ever hear that website Fiverr, where you spend $5 to have someone design you a logo?
Right.
Like they just randomly hired the same guy.
And the guy was like, if I change 3 things about it, legally, it's not the same logo.
Oh, this crab only has 2 claws, and he's slightly at a 70-degree angle from the other one. It's
Like,
totally different.
It'd be like if you had CVS and a Walgreens across the street from each other.
Yeah, that's what they do.
But
That's
one
what
of
they
them was CWS.
Oh, right, yeah.
Instead of CVS,
Right.
and it was like a slightly off red. Instead of being like red, it was a little pink
No,
or magenta.
We're not Starbucks. We're Barstocks.
Barstocks.
It's completely different.
Completely different thing. We do coffee, sure. And the cup is green, but if you notice, the hands of the little symbol are different.
We don't use that logo from Moby Dick. We use a completely different one.
So I'm just telling you.
Wait, what are the 2 restaurants again?
One of them's Crazy Crab. That's across from Rainbow Cone.
Yes.
And the other one is just 4 blocks.
So 92nd,
south.
96th on
92nd
Western.
and 96th on Western.
The Great Crab Wars.
The Great Crab Wars, Crazy Crab, Saucy Crab.
Well, I think we should have a taste off. I mean, me and you. But
I don't think they're ever going to let us near them again after this
really.
story.
Well, maybe the listeners can do it covertly.
I would love it if people went out and told me which one was the better
Right.
one.
But they probably wouldn't know. They wouldn't know which was which.
No.
Which is the problem.
I was at one of those crab places. It was saucy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Which one was it? Oh,
It was
God,
crazy.
We had to know that.
You know what you really need to do is need to go get the saucy crab and the crazy crab and mix them together so you have a crazy saucy crab.
That's just ridiculous.
About a mile from the Crab Wars at 89th and Kedzie, there's a farmer's market, and every Thursday, you get to meet some Southside farmers. Join us. What's your name?
Alfonso Porter.
Alfonso, are you a farmer?
I am.
You are. Where's your farm at?
Eau Claire, Michigan.
Really? And so do you drive to different farmers markets? Or you just hit this one every once in a while?
So I do 3 a week. On Thursdays, I'm in Evergreen. Fridays, I'm in Schaumburg. And Saturdays, I'm in Oak Park.
Same thing every time? Or?
No, everything that we grow, so what's in season. I'm primarily a fruit farm, so I grow peaches, plums, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, tayberries, sour cherries, sweet cherries, reindeer cherries, asparagus, tomatoes. I grow a lot.
You got beautiful stuff out here,
Thank
first
you
of all.
so much. Thank you so much.
It really looks really nice. So
We also grow 74 different varieties of apples. So
you get up early, you drive all the way from Michigan, you come to this farmer's market each and every week?
every week, every
week.
Thursday.
If somebody's looking for you and they come out to the farmer's market in a future week, how do they find? Are you in the same spot all the
Same
time?
spot every Thursday right here in Evergreen Park from 7 to 1.
And you're a Sox fan, it looks like.
I am.
From Michigan.
I am.
Awesome.
Get a lot of crap.
What's your name, man?
James Dotson.
James Dotson. And it's Dotson's farm?
Yep.
Where are you guys located?
Beecher, Illinois.
Where's Beecher?
About an hour south.
So an hour south, you come up here every single Thursday to
Every
Evergreen Park?
Thursday from 7 to 1.
From 7 to 1. Now, what do you guys have on your farm?
We do all
What,
the
you're
veg-
doing
yeah.
everything. it
Yeah, we
looks
do
like.
all the vegetables like tomatoes, the corn, the watermelons, melons, all that stuff. Yeah, like peppers, zucchini.
So how does it work? Tell a non-farmer city boy like myself, okay? How does this work? So you harvest some stuff weekly, you go out and you just pull whatever you need to pull out of the ground that you're going to sell
Yeah.
that week.
Yep.
So it's that fresh.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Yep.
How early in the morning you got to get up to get here to Evergreen and start selling?
We wake up at 4:30.
Oh my God,
Yep.
that's crazy. How many Red Bulls have you had today?
None.
Hi, what's your name?
Marcella Villa.
Marcella, are you a farmer?
I'm not a farmer, but I am a processor. We do process our own nuts and snacks.
you don't grow them, but then you take them and you do interesting things with them. Tell me what you do.
We honey coat them with sesame, or we do butter toffee pecans, or with coconut, or honey glazed. We do the pecans, the almonds, the peanuts, all kinds of nuts.
And are you guys here every single week at the farmers market?
God willing, yes.
How many farmers markets do you do? Just one, or is this like every day you're in a different spot?
Actually, we're in the market 4 days out of the week.
Wow. Finally made it to the thing that all my friends tell me I have to get to. We are at the tamale stand. You don't realize. Yeah, you have no idea how famous you are. I've had so many people tell me if you're going to the farmers market, go get a tamale. What's the name of the restaurant?
El Coyote Mexican Restaurant.
And are you guys here all the time?
We're here every Thursday. Yep.
I didn't even ask your name. I'm so rude. What's your name?
Lourdes.
Otherwise, I was just going to go with like tamale lady.
Okay.
Okay, so how many of these do you think you go through? I mean, you must do pretty well at this at the farmers market to be back every week. How many things do you go through, and is it just tamales, or what else do you guys offer?
We also have tacos and breakfast tacos. So since we get here so early, we have people could come out and have breakfast out here. We also sell the Mexican corn in a cup, the elote, which is with mayo and butter and cheese and the cayenne pepper. You mix it all up. It's really good. So,
wow, you're making me hungry. Yeah. Do you ever barter? I've heard that some bartering happens here with some of the farmers. It's like give me some tomatoes, I'll give you some tamales.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens that way.
I love that you guys are like doing it.
Farmers happy.
Yeah.
What's
great is that you have the ingredients for a lot of stuff just sitting right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We can't run out of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
Man, on a cold day, aren't you now thinking about farmers markets and tamales? That's my gift to you. Plus, it seems like everything's going to start opening up, which is amazing. And hopefully, we're going to have a good time this spring and this summer on the South Side. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on whatever podcast player you're using. Southside Pod is currently available on a ton of different podcast services. And as we launch, we will be on more. Spotify probably coming up in the next week or so. We're on all the social media. Don't miss an episode. Click subscribe, and thank you for listening to Southside Pod, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at southsidepod.com.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's going to be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudies Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudies Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha. That was like Dropkick Murphys or something, right? I felt like it.